I don't remember how old I was when I first watched the Ghost in the Shell film, but I do remember that it had a profound impact on me. I don't know if it was the art style, the characters, the fight scenes, or the philosophical exploration of the line between man and machine, but something about this movie had me hooked from the moment I first saw it. Ghost in the Shell was my introduction to both anime and the cyberpunk genre, and I've been a huge fan of the franchise ever since. I've consumed every entry, all the anime, the manga, the movies, yes, even the live-action one, and, of course, the video games. Hey there, kiddos, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Uncle Frank, hoping that you are having a great day, and in today's video, I'm going to be sitting back in a chair that you guys can't see or hear, relaxing and having a little conversation with all of you guys about the Ghost in the Shell video game. And now when I say that, there have been a few Ghost in the Shell games over the years. Standalone Complex had two adaptations, one for the PS2 and another for the PSP, and then there was also First Assault Online, an online-only team-based shooter game that's been shut down for a while now, if I recall correctly. But in today's video, I'm celebrating the release of the brand new Ghost in the Shell anime by going back and taking a look at one of my favorite entries in the entire series, the first Ghost in the Shell video game, a third-person, tank-based shooter published by THQ in 1997 for the original PlayStation. Now, before I begin, I know that for a lot of people my age, THQ has a reputation for shoveling out shitty games, but trust me when I say that this one's actually pretty great. In fact, I would go as far as to say it's not only my favorite THQ game ever made, but also one of my favorite PlayStation games ever made. It's just that fun. Furthermore, while I did originally approach this video with the idea of having a script and doing all kinds of fancy editing, I realized as I was doing a bunch of re-recordings and such that I really wasn't enjoying that a whole lot, so I'm just going to be doing this off the cuff and showing some gameplay in the background and hoping that I get my point across. I really do like this game a lot and I want to share it with all of you guys. Now, getting into the game itself, it's not really a tie-in to the movie that came out in 1995. It's easy to think that it would. This game only came out 2 years later. A lot of the returning voice cast is basically the same, but this game is actually its own standalone entry for the Ghost in the Shell franchise and has its own story written by Masamune Shirow. You, the player, take on the role of a new recruit to Public Security Section 9. You're tasked with piloting these awesome Fujikomas through 12 different levels to hunt down enemies, fight bosses, and defeat a terrorist organization called, if I recall correctly, the Human Liberation Front. Now, this game does have pretty basic tank controls. It is a PS1 game. Tank controls were pretty common back then. If you're unfamiliar with tank controls, I'll give you a quick rundown. Pressing left or right on the D-pad doesn't cause you to move in that direction. Instead, it causes your character to spin left or right, respectively, while pressing up makes them move in the direction they're facing. Down makes them back up. And what's really cool here in the Ghost in the Shell game is sliding. Pressing the L or R button causes your Fujikoma to slide left or right, basically letting you glide throughout the entire level, which is really cool. It gives you a lot of mobility options. X is jumping. I think the square button is shooting bullets straight ahead, but if you charge the square button for a bit, it creates this little missile gauge, and if you're nearby any enemies, your tank will automatically target them, and letting go of the square button while an enemy is being targeted unleashes this barrage of missiles that actually destroys pretty much every enemy in the game in one barrage. There's also bombs you can get located throughout most of the levels. These are item pickups. There's only a handful in each stage. The circle button fires them, and they do a lot of damage to the regular enemies, but I would say you should save them. You can only have 3 at a time, and honestly, you should just save these for the bosses. You also have a health bar, all the basic stuff, pick up for health and all that jazz, but no extra lives. Once you die, that's it. Game over. No checkpoints, no continues. You start again from the beginning, but the game does have the courtesy of letting you start from the most recent unlocked level, so that's something. Speaking of, there are 12 missions in total for this game, and they can be divided into 3 broad categories: objective-based, linear, and on rails. I'm not going to go over every stage, but I will cover the 3 different types. Objective-based levels have things like, oh, you need to kill X amount of certain enemies to unlock the boss area. Linear levels, which are exactly what they say on the tin. There's a bunch of levels in the game that are basically tunnels that you have to navigate through to get to the end where the boss is. And then there's the on-rail stages. I think there's only like 2 of these in the entire game, where you're locked in a standard position moving throughout the level, and you gotta jump up and down and take out enemies as they spawn in next to you before you reach the boss. And those all sound pretty simplistic, but I do really like all of the stages in this game. None of them really take too long. Most stand out pretty well from the rest. Not too many of them reuse the same ideas. I really dig the overall aesthetic of the game, the futuristic look that a lot of the stages have. It really drives home this game's cyberpunk roots, and they're also filled with some really cool music. It's pretty fucking amazing listening to this game's soundtrack, especially the opening song. Now, I mentioned bosses. At the end of every stage is a boss, with exception to one stage where the boss is fought throughout the level. These are all big, elaborate robots that you need to take down in order to complete the mission. Some of these guys are pretty basic, but others, like the fast robot from Mission 8 or the final boss, can be pretty challenging on their own, and in my opinions, the boss fights in this game are some of the best spectacles you have on the PS1. They really make you feel like you're in this kind of epic anime battle where you're zipping about in the Fujikoma, blasting these robots while avoiding their attacks. It's really a lot of fun. Beyond the mission mode, I have to say that there is a training mode where you can practice controlling the Fujikoma in a safe-ish environment, with more points you score earning you better cutscenes at the end of it. Oh, about the cutscenes, this game has fully animated cutscenes. Like I mentioned previously, the cast from the Ghost in the Shell movie returns to provide their voices for this game, and I think they do a great job here. I also think the animated cutscenes you see in between some of the levels look great. Although, I do need to apologize, the recording software I'm using for this video didn't do a great job of showcasing them. If you want to see them, there are high-quality versions out there on YouTube. Overall, I have to say, this is an extremely fun game to play. One of the strongest entries in the original PS library. It's a lot of fun to just jump around, slide across the various levels in this big, goofy tank, and it's even more fun blasting enemies with missile barrages. The first time I took out a helicopter in this game amazed me. Usually in video games, helicopters are like these big challenges, but here, just some missiles did the trick. The game isn't too complicated, the bosses are all predictable, but a lot of fun, and they really do provide this level of spectacle to the game that makes fighting and beating them feel really rewarding. I'm really a big fan of the first boss and the final boss, if I have to be honest. I don't know, it's a lot of fun here. That's not to say the game's perfect. If I'm being honest, I do have some issues with it. The levels are all short, some can be difficult to navigate, especially some of the darker ones where it's really hard to see exactly what you're looking at. I tend to find that just moving forward and firing constantly helps a lot, especially since there can be a lot of really hard to see enemies in these stages. There's also some annoying enemy placements. Enemies or traps that can be a bit, well, annoying to face. This doesn't happen often, but when it does, you kind of feel like you have to ask why. In fact, when you spawn in for the very first level, you'll probably be taking damage, which is because there's a little enemy right in front of you and it starts firing you as soon as the level begins. If you aren't firing or dodging the moment you spawn in, you are getting hit, which is bullshit in my opinion. Beyond that, most of the stages don't have anything too offensive up until the final mission, which has this aggravating jump section. Keep in mind, for this stage you are high up in a skyscraper and falling off means instant death. This jump, well, it's a bit too far to make normally, so you'd think that you need a running start, right? Wrong. No matter how fast you're going, you will never make this jump. Instead, what you need to do is climb down off of the ledge onto a smaller ledge and jump from there. And even then, your jump has to be precise or you're falling to your death. In fact, I couldn't make this jump while I was recording for this video, so you guys don't get to actually see the final boss, which, sorry about that. I'm not going to sit here for a half hour jumping this one specific area in the game. But besides that, while this game is challenging, it's far from impossible. In fact, I'd say it's actually pretty possible to beat the game in one sitting, and that kind of balance between challenge and difficulty is something game devs struggle to do even today. So it's really nice that they managed to figure this one out almost 30 years ago. And yeah, that's right, this game is about 30 years old. It's crazy to think about how long the Ghost in the Shell franchise has been around. The manga was a smash hit. It's had a load of adaptations over the years. Some great, some not so great, but in my opinion, this one really stands out. And one of the reasons is, well, for some reason, Ghost in the Shell adaptations always want to change Motoko Kusanagi to be this more serious character. In the movie, for instance, she's all business, introspective, and all that nonsense. In Standalone Complex, she has a softer and more playful side, but she's still super serious most of the time. In the manga, the Major is a downright goofball. Sure, she is this badass cyborg super cop who could bench press a car if she wanted to, but reading the manga always gave me the impression that the Major was an overall fun-loving kind of military badass, a real contrast to how she's usually portrayed in the adaptations. And part of why I enjoy this game so much is that it does seem to have a lot of that goofball energy. It's a very relaxed atmosphere, a lot of fun, and Motoko is pretty serious here during mission mode, but some of her more relaxed and even playful attitude can show up in some of the cutscenes, which I think is helped by Masamune Shiro having a pretty direct hand in this game's production. Now, at the end of the day, I have said everything I wanted to say. I love the Ghost in the Shell franchise, and this game is, in my opinion, one of the best entries in the franchise. I love the PlayStation 1, and in my opinion, this game is one of the best games on the PlayStation 1. If you have a chance to try it out, I really do highly recommend it. You won't be disappointed. Besides that, let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below. Let me know if you agree with me or disagree with me. And as always, check out the links, Discord, TCG Player, eBay, and of course the Patreon. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to get back to watching Ghost in the Shell. Ciao!